Today we're going to be talking about 5.1, and it's all about adding and subtracting fractions. The one main thing you have to remember whenever you're adding and subtracting fractions is to make sure you always have a common denominator. Okay, so don't try to add the denominators together unless you make them a common denominator. Our first instructions today tell us to find the sum or the difference. Let's look at this. Problem A says 1/5 plus 2/5. Do I have the same common denominator?
Yes.
I do. What's the denominator?
5.
A 5. So your 5 is going to stay the same. So when I add 1/5 plus 2/5, what do I get?
3/5.
3/5. Does that need to be reduced at all?
No.
No. So you just box it in. Let's go to the next one. 2/9 plus 5/9. Do I have the same denominator?
No.
Yes, so I don't have to find a common denominator because it's already there. What is 2/5 plus 2/9 plus 5/9? 7/9. Can that be reduced?
No.
No, so that's your answer. All right, so this first one, once again, now we're going to be subtracting instead of adding. It says 7/8 minus 3/8. Do I have a common denominator?
Yes.
Yes, so what's my denominator going to stay as? An 8, okay? What is 7/8 minus 3/8?
1/2.
4/8, okay? Can 4/8 be reduced? Yes. To what? Now, last lesson we were talking about you have to sit there and go divide by 4, divide by 4. You no longer have to do that. If you know how to do it in your head, I am perfectly fine with you just telling us that the answer is 1/2. Okay, go ahead and do the next one on your own. All right, guys, what's 4/5 minus 2/5? 2/5. Can that be reduced? No, so that is your answer. Looking at these next two examples, do I have a common denominator? I do not, okay? So you got to look at the biggest denominator, which is the 4. Can a 3 go into a 4? No, so I have to think of the next multiple of 4. What's the next multiple of 4 that a 3 can go into? A 12, all right? So your common denominator is a 12. So just like we've done with our last lessons, we're going to go ahead and do the same kind of idea here. 3/4 has to be turned into some kind of 12ths. How do I get from a 4 down to a 12? You have to multiply by 3. If I multiply the top by 3, I got to multiply the bottom by 3, okay? What's 3 times 3? 9. So my new fraction, this means 3/4 is the same exact thing, or it's an equivalent fraction to 9/12. Let's do the same thing to 2/3. How do I get from 2/3 to turn it into 12ths?
3 times 4.
Multiply it times 4. When we do to the bottom, we've got to be fair and do it to the top. So what's my new fraction?
8 12.
Okay, right here, 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 4 is 8. Now you can see I've got the same denominator, so I have a common denominator, so now we can add the numerators together. What is 9/12 plus 8/12? 17/12. Now here's the thing. You can never leave this as an improper fraction. All right, so what do I need to turn it into?
A mixed number.
A mixed number. How many times can a 12 go into a 17? One time, and then what's my remainder?
5.
1 and 5/12. All right, if you cannot remember how to do that, I am totally fine with you. If you want to work it out, you can do it just like this. If you know how to do it in your head, you do not have to show me this work over here. But you can see 1 and 5/12 is the same thing that I got right there. Okay, any questions on that one? Let's go to the next one. 5/8 minus 7/16. Help me out, JD. What do I have to do first? Okay, what's the common denominator between the two of them? 16. Katie, help me out. How do I get 5/8 to turn into 16ths?
You have to times 5 by 2 and 8 times 2 to 16, so you have to do this in 5.
Okay.
And then you get 10/16.
10/16. Asia, what do I do now? Okay, just bring down the 7/16. Very good job. And Alex, what's my answer? Very good. 3/16 is correct. Okay, any questions on how to do those problems? The next example that we have, you still are going to find it the same exact way, but there's just one extra step here than there was on the previous problem. So first things first, what do we have to do? Find a common denominator, okay? So right now you do not need calculators. This is something that I want to see the work that shows me you guys understand it. What's the common denominator for a 4, 3, and 12? 12 is correct. So you're going to put that 12 underneath it. And then bring down your plus sign, bring down your minus sign. Kyla, how do I get 1/4 to turn into something twelfths? Okay, what would that number be?
3.
Times 3, what's my new fraction?
3
Very good, 3/12, okay? Next one, do it for me, please, Michael.
You multiply by 4.
Multiply by 4, and what will my new fraction be?
It will be 8/12.
8/12, very good. Next up, Gabby. Very good. There's no work that I have to do, so I'm just going to bring it right back down, okay? I want you guys to find the answer on your own. The first thing you want to do is just this first step. Guys, what's 3/12 plus 8/12? 11/12, okay? Now you've got 11/12 minus 3/12. What would that be? 11 minus 3.
8/12.
8/12,
Oh.
okay? Is that reduced?
No.
No. What can go into an 8 that can go into a 12?
2.
A 4 is the biggest one. So if I divide by 4 on top and bottom, what is it reduced to?
2/3.
2/3 is the correct answer. How many of you guys got that on your own? All right, very good job. Any questions for those who did not?
Oh,
Okay. Today I want to do just a few review problems with you. So for number 2, we are going to write the decimal as a fraction or a mixed number. Is there anybody who remembers how to turn 0.17 into a fraction or a mixed number? What should I do?
Put 17 over 100.
Okay, that means 17 hundredths. How did you know it was in the hundredths place?
Because it's 17 hundredths.
Okay, this is the tenths place, this is the hundredths place. So we automatically know that is going to be 17 hundredths. Can 17 hundredths be reduced at all?
no.
No, it cannot. That is as low as it can go. I want you guys to do problem B on your own. As I walked around, I saw quite a few correct answers, but I also saw quite a few little mistakes, okay? What do you think I need to do first?
Put 10, 34.
What? Or 10 over
Okay.
100.
10 and 34 over 100. Is this right here reduced?
No.
No. What can go into a 34
2.
and a 100? 2. When I reduce that, what do you get?
17. 10 and 17 over 50.
Okay, so a lot of people just put 17 over 50, but what's the full answer?
10 and 17, 50.
10 and 17 fiftieths. You've got to be careful because a lot of times people are forgetting this whole number right here. So always remember, if there's a whole number there, there should be a whole number in your answer. Okay, final review problem for today. Find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data. What's the first thing we have to do before we do anything else?
Put them least to greatest.
Okay, put them from least to greatest. Landon, what's the tiniest number?
38.
All right, 38. Next one, Gabby. 48. What's the next one, Isabel?
52.
Good job, 52. Next up, Carlos. 60. Kyla.
61.
61. Emma.
64.
64. Alex. 64 again. And Asia. 65. All right, so we have spent a lot of time in our class talking about the mean, median, mode, and range. What does the mean mean?
Average.
The average of all the numbers together. I want you guys to try to find that on your own, and then go ahead and move on to the median, the mode, and the range. As I just saw a lot of your answers, there's a few things that people forgot to do. Remember, you want to show me work. With the mean, it's the average. So you have to add up all of these numbers right here. When you added those numbers up, Emma, what'd you get?
452.
452. This is also what I saw. I saw a lot of people divided it by 2. Is that the correct number to divide it by?
No.
What should I divide it by?
8.
You divide it by 8 because there were 8 numbers in this original data set. Okay, so make sure you're dividing it by 8. What is that answer?
56.5.
56.5. Now I asked you to round it to the nearest tenth. Is that the tenths place?
57.
No, that's a whole number.
Oh.
Okay, I want it to the nearest tenth. This is the tenths place. So that is exactly how you want to leave it. Okay, that's the nearest tenths place. Let's talk about the median. What is the median?
It's the middle, no.
The middle number. Okay, so I know this is an outside one, that's an outside one, this is an outside one. So what are my middle numbers?
61, 60, and 61.
Please circle your middle numbers, okay? I don't want 2 middle numbers though, okay? 60 and 61. Here's what I'm looking for. I am looking for, if there was a number in the middle of these two, what would that number be, okay? In order to find the middle of those, you find the mean of them. So I would do 60 plus 61, which is 121. There were 2 numbers here, so I'm going to divide it by 2. What's the answer, guys?
60.5.
60.5. Remember, once again, I want it always rounded to the nearest tenths place. All right, next up, the mode is the number that what?
Occurs the most.
The one that occurs the most. Which number occurs the most out of all those? There are 2 64s. Okay, finally we've got the range. How do I find the range?
The difference between the highest and the lowest.
The highest and the lowest number. What was my highest?
65.
And my lowest?
38.
38. Okay, so it's basically asking what range of numbers do we have in this entire data set? It ranges from how many numbers, guys?
8.
What's the answer?
27.
27 different numbers. And that is how you find the range. Tonight's homework is over 5.1. There's just 10 problems on these 2 pages. So go ahead and write down your assignment for tonight.